Hi, I'm Craig, and today I want to do, I know, something that's very lazy, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is my top 10 worst games I've ever played. So, what's going to be number one? And what's going to be number 10? Before I tell you what they are, I would recommend you get yourself a clothes peg because there are some utter stinkers in this list. Number 10. Well, my number 10 is a game that caused me no end of frustration. One of the worst Sonic games ever made. And the honour goes to Sonic 3D. Sonic 3D was on the Mega Drive. I played it and it was horrendous. It was like running around on an ice rink in 3D. Not only were you running around on an ice rink, but you had to jump on enemies, you had to collect rings, and more importantly, you had to save the flickies, which seemed to be these really annoying little bird creatures um, that were trapped inside the shells of robots, I guess, by Robotnik, and you had to pick them up and you had to jump through a ring to save them. And frankly, I would have rather just sent them off to an aviary because that would have been a lot more humane and it would have gotten them out of this turgid abomination of a Sonic game. All the other Sonic games up to this point were really good. One, two, three. I just don't understand why they made such an abysmal game. How can you ruin Sonic that badly? Well, I asked, how can you ruin Sonic? Well, here's one. Put him on rails. On rails games are some of the worst games ever made. So it won't be surprising then to me that one of my least favourite games of all time, Sonic and the Secret Rings on the Wii. Yes, that's this game in a nutshell. It's on the Wii, it's a Sonic game, and it's on rails. Why is Sonic on rails? Why can't I run? Why can't I stop? Why is he perpetually running? I don't know. So many questions, but I think the answer to all of them is to ruin Sonic. This game is awful. You have to use the remote to jump, and one of the worst control schemes imaginable. You push the control, and he jumps or dashes or whatever on earth they were calling it. But it was horrendous. It was clunky. It was infuriating. I played this around at the time I was at university, and I don't know why I bought it. Well, I know why I bought it. It was a Sonic game, and you think Sonic, you think good. But in this case, it was ruined by whoever greenlit it, whoever made it. It should be just put in the bin. Big time, put in the bin. It is pants. Get rid of it. Never play it. Without a doubt, hand in hand with Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, the worst Sonic games ever made. That I've played anyway. So, what's number 8 then? Well, what's worse than a Sonic game on rails? How about a game you just can't finish, or play, or you would ever want to touch with a 1800-foot barge pole? And of course, this is a game I put at number 8. They're going to get worse from here, but for now, number 8 is The Conduit on the Wii. It was a first person shooter on the Wii. Um, I don't know what they were thinking making it, but this game was broken. It was annoying. It was awful. Maybe they played Halo and thought, how can we make this worse? Well, I can tell you how they made it worse. It was buggy. It was awful. It was turgid. The guns were tremendously rubbish. Um, it was an absolute suckfest from start to finish. And at some points, the game would actually just flat out bug out on you, and you just couldn't finish a level. I'd be going, right, I've got to this point, what do I do now? You'd be running around trying to find out what to do, and the game has just decided, surprise, I don't want to work anymore. It's like, thank you very much. Can I risk throwing my remote through the TV? Probably not. You really want to. If you played this game, it was mind-blowingly awful. Don't touch it. Don't go near it. It is one of the worst games on the Wii. One of the worst first-person shooters of all time. Just leave it alone. If you have it, use it as a coaster, maybe a frisbee. I don't know, anything other than a game. It sucked. Don't go near it. So in at number 7 is a game that I don't know why you would say this is worse than a game you couldn't really finish. But to me it is, because it ruined memories. No surprises here. Number 7, GoldenEye on the Wii. If GoldenEye N64 version was one of my favourite games, this is one of my least favourite. It is appalling. Where do I begin? Well, I've talked about this game before, so let's be brief. They've taken Pierce Brosnan out, they put Daniel Craig in. Why, I don't know. To cash in, probably. Why have they remade this game? To cash in. Number 2. It is appalling because you can take one of the most powerful guns in the game, the AK-47, and you can empty an entire clip into a guard, and the guard will just keep coming at you. This is several bullets of a high-impact machine gun, and the guy is still alive. But then you can run up to him and hit him with the gun, and he goes down like a sack of potatoes. So that's why this game sucks. What is the point of having a game with guns when the end of the gun that doesn't fire the frigging bullets is more effective than the end that does fire the frigging bullets? This game sucks. Just, if you've got it, donate it to charity. It's not even worth getting the money back for it. It's just appalling. Don't touch it. Okay, so GoldenEye on the Wii ruined one game. How about a game that ruins an entire franchise? Dawn of the Dragon, the Spyro the Dragon game, or one of the Spyro the Dragon games that came out after it. Oh my goodness, if the first 3 games were masterpieces, this is just a drawing done by an angry child with a piece of paper and a crayon that's been stuck up their nose. That's what this game is. It's that bad. It's just, it really is appalling. The controls are dreadful. It's another one where you have to control the flying with the nunchuck and the remote, and the motion controls are horrendous. They just don't work in this game. I don't know why it was made. I don't know if it'd been on one of the other consoles, it might have worked. But on the Wii, it was just rubbish. The flying controls were horrendous. You were, for some reason, shackled to another dragon. I didn't play the one before it because there was a predecessor to this one that explained why you were stuck to another dragon. I've never played it, don't know why, but you know, for people who hadn't played the game, you could have explained it to us better, but they didn't. Or maybe they did, but I didn't get that far because the game was appalling. It bombed in my mind in every other conceivable way. It was just dreadful. As much as I enjoyed Spyro the Dragon, and as much as I really enjoyed waiting for another Spyro game, and when this one came, I was like, ugh. I wish Spyro would just stayed away, and we were just left with that 3 glorious games on the PlayStation, but instead this pile of dog poo came out on the Wii and ruined everything. Number 5. A game that I played when I was a lot younger. I played, I'm guessing, a demo at my aunt's house on her PC. Um, it was called Little Big Adventure. I knew it as Twinsen. It was this really bizarre man with a ponytail, I guess, and he would roam around this strange world, and you had to get him to do various actions. He would just kind of wander around, and you told him to do certain actions, and he would climb up stuff and dance and all sorts. It was cumbersome. It was clunky. It was just, I don't know why this came as a demo, who paid who, but somebody paid somebody, and this demo ended up on a PC. I never want to play the real game. I probably didn't even know it was a demo. I thought it was the actual game. There you go. When you can't tell the difference between a demo and a game, it just goes to show you why this game is number 5 on my list. I played it for maybe about 10 minutes and it left an impression that was just, don't play this game. I don't know what the point in this game was, why it existed, what the purpose was. I tried Googling it just now. In fact, I Googled it just now just to find out what the heck it was actually called. I thought it was called Twinsen, but there you go, it's called Little Big Adventure. And it was horrendous. There's not much I can really say about a game I only played for 10 minutes, but I played it for long enough for it to make number 5 on the list. It was just that bad. The controls were bad, the gameplay was bad, it was clunky, it was just... You needed to, not just a guide to play this game, you needed to do a PhD in rubbish games to play this game. Don't touch it. If you've got it on your PC, delete it. If you've got the disc of it, use it for clay pigeon shooting, I guess. It would be a lot more useful for that. Just otherwise, the game is here, you should take this much of a berth around it. I can't make my arms go even wider than that, but if I could, then that would indicate how much more of a berth you should take it from this game. It's awful. Number 4. I never thought I'd be saying this on the list of 10 of the worst games, in fact, the 10 worst games I've ever played. It's a Pokemon game. Well, I say game. I say game in the same way that picking up a piece of paper off the ground after someone's thrown it on the ground is a game. It's Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap is just basically an on-rails game where you go around in a spaceship thing, roller coaster thing. I don't know what you're on, but you're on something. And the idea being that you have to take photos of Pokemon. Rare Pokemon, more points. Better photo, more points. I'm guessing more powerful Pokemon, more points. This is just an N64 game that could have been an arcade game, but I don't think it ever was an arcade game. This was just a cash-in game. This is all it was. Because did anybody really ever look at a Pokemon game and go, you know what I really, really, really want to do is take photographs of Pokemon? Said nobody ever. It was, I want to have Pokemon as a pet. I want to battle Pokemon. Not, I want to go around in this weird contraption on a roller coaster thing taking photographs of Pokemon. Nobody said that. But some idiot made it as a game, and here I am talking about it because it exists. And it exists for the reasons of money and... I don't know. If you own it, sell it to somebody who is obsessed with Pokemon and doesn't care that this is the most pathetic attempt at having Pokemon in a game. A set of Pokemon pajamas would have been better. In fact, the Pikachu N64 is probably a nicer gift because you can actually use it to play games. This is not a game. This is just a vague attempt at a game, a thing that's meant to be a game masquerading as a game. It's dog poop, don't play it. Where do I begin? Number 3. Let's just jump into Umbrella Chronicles on the Wii, the Resident Evil game for the Wii. The Resident Evil game that nobody in the history of anything asked for. I mean, you ask for a game for Resident Evil where you can survive, you can shoot zombies, you can kill stuff, but nobody asked for one that was on rails. Nobody said, hey, let's put Resident Evil on rails, let that be a brilliant idea. This was basically an arcade game on a home console. It was just appalling. Who thought this was a good idea? Obviously somebody who works at the company that made the game thought this was a good idea. Yes. And why is this worse than a game that I played for 10 minutes as a demo? Well, because that game didn't ruin your eyes. This game did. This game's graphics were so sharp and jagged, they made your eyes bleed. It was awful. It had all the recipes there for a game that was just thrown together by people who were drunk. You had to point off the screen to reload and point here, point there. You had to basically, I mean, the Wii control system here, just again, was fidgety, it was awful. It just drove me around the bend, and I just don't see why it was ever made. It just sucked. It sucked so badly. It was a letdown. I mean, if you played Resident Evil 1, if you played Resident Evil 2, if you played Resident Evil 3, if you played Resi 4, hell, if you played Resi 5, 6, and what other Resident Evil game are on now, Code Veronica, Resident Evil 0, those games were infinitely more playable than this. And this was a game that was playing itself. How can a game which had one of the most clunky control schemes known to man, and Resident Evil 1, where you could either aim down here, or up here, how can that be more playable than a game that plays itself? But it was. This game sucked. It was so bad. I don't get it. Why did it exist? It was boring. How can you make a survival horror game boring? Well, I've just told you, put it on frigging rails. If you don't know what on rails means, it means you walk. You walk yourself. All you've got to do is point and shoot at the screen. Once you clear the screen, it walks on to the next bit itself. Basically like you're on a conveyor belt. A never-ending conveyor belt of mediocrity, of misery, of why the hell did I play this game? It was absolutely awful. Because it was Resident Evil, that's why. Don't play it. Just don't. Number 2. Number 2 is a game which I saw in the arcade area of Dundee University in their student union, and a game that drove me around the bend. Now, this game beats the other games just for that reason alone. Okay, I tell a lie. The other reason is that the opening credits that were on a loop and played every 5 minutes said this game not as what it's actually called, but something far funnier. And that is Ghost Squad, or as the opening titles called it in that revolving thing that just keeps on playing over and over and over again on games, Ghost Squad. Yes, it sounded like Ghost. And that is why this game is my number 2 worst game I've ever played. Because even though this game drove me around the bend, I out of curiosity picked it up and put it in my Wii I tried to push it in my Wii, but I finished it. The maximum level being 99, and I don't know why I even bothered. The reward for maxing out your level is one of the worst rewards in gaming history. Short of being slapped to the face with a wet fish, or getting nothing at all, I think I'll have nothing at all than this. The reward for reaching the maximum level was a panda suit. Yes, I kid you not, it was a panda suit. You had all these other items you unlocked, weapons, tactical gear. Oh yeah, it's an Unreal shooting game. Another one. You can tell my hatred of Unreal shooting games by the fact I've put so many of them in this list, yes, but this one takes the biscuit. Not just a panda suit either. This has the worst name ever given to a terrorist organisation in the history of naming terrorist organisations in video games. Right? Do you want to take a guess? I'll leave a blank space for 2 seconds for you to guess what this terrorist organisation is called. You've guessed. And you've guessed wrong. Unless you've played the game. Because it's Indigo Wolves. Yeah, I know. Indigo, the scariest of all the colours. Up there with mauve and magenta and rose. This is a fail. This is... Who would call... This drives me around the bend. Who greenlit this name? Somebody who was drunk. On absinthe. On holiday. Down a well. I don't know. But they obviously were having a really bad day. And decided, you know what, just do it. Just go away and let's have this as the name. This game is awful. It is just... point and shoot. Without the pedals, without the motivation, without having to put in money. I don't know why. I just did this out of curiosity to see what happened at the end, and put it this way. I told you what happens at the end. You get a panda costume. Why is this worse than a game that ruins your eyes? Well, Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles actually had the smidgen of variety. You actually went through multiple levels. This is worse because it had 3 levels. 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3. So, to finish this game, to level up, you had to get scores. You need to get scores by doing the same levels over and over and over and over. Okay, fine, you can unlock different paths down each level, but it's still 3 levels. Still just 3 miserable, boring as hell levels. Again and again and again until you reach level 99. I've done it. You shouldn't. Swinging his way into the number 1 spot is Spider-Man. On the Atari 2600, I borrowed this console from my cousin when I was a lot younger, and I've never played this game since. It is the worst game I've ever played, hence why it's number 1. It controlled badly, it played badly. It ruined Spider-Man. Spider-Man was one of my favourite, if not my favourite superhero. And this ruined him. How do you ruin Spider-Man? Okay, I never played that horrendous Superman game on N64, so if I'd played that, that would be number 1, but I didn't. So Spider-Man on Atari is number 1. The game was awful. And I could have forgotten that game ever existed had I not watched Angry Video Game Nerd talk about it. And it reminded me that I actually had owned that game and had played that game. Thanks, James, for reminding me. And thanks me for watching James remind me of how stinking this game was. It was awful. It was almost unplayable. There were games from the time that looked better and played better than this pile of dog poop. You shoot your webs, you go up a building, there's a goblin, one of the goblins, Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, Billy Bob Goblin, I don't know, on his jetpack, scooter, flying craft. This is how much I care about this game. I don't. It stunk. It was the worst. It will remain the worst. It is the worst. It is worse than a game that... I'm not railing off all other games I've mentioned in the list. Watch the rest of the list. This game sucks. I played it when I was 5. 25 years later, it's still the worst game I've ever played. That's how bad this game was. I'm not comparing it to games of the past, present, future. I'm comparing it to games of its time. Games that I've watched videos of, games that I haven't played but would rather play than this. In fact, Pong. I would have rather played Pong. I would have rather had Pong than play this dog poop. I played Pac-Man. Pac-Man, waka 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 waka. Far more playable than this dreadful game, Spider-Man on the Atari 2600. Congratulations, you are my worst game ever. The worst game I've ever played. And I've listed as best I can all the games I've ever played, including rubbish browser games. And of the 240 odd games I can think of that I've ever played, this is the worst. 25 years of gaming and this is still the worst. Congratulations, developers, for making the worst game I've ever played. And it's worse than a game that can ruin your eyes. It's a game that can ruin your memory of the best superhero ever. So if you've got it, throw it away. Unless you're collecting them to do what with, I don't know. I'm surprised those consoles even work anymore. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't play any of these games. Don't go near them. Don't think about them. Don't touch them. Don't even... I don't know what's the other thing of touching, looking, taste them. Just don't do anything to them, apart from throw them in the bin. If you've liked this video, please click subscribe. If you want to get notified when I post new videos, hit the bell. I think it's a bell. It's meant to be a bell. Just hit it. Thank you.